And why are we born? And what is the determination? How do we die? And what is our purpose of this existence? Gautam Buddha had actually found his path in those 8 noble truths. The Jain religion, the Jain sect had found it in theirs. Sikhism found it in theirs. Islam, Sufism, you name any. And all of these sects have taken this concept of the living and surviving to another level. Today, our panel extension and the panel discussion offers nothing more but the same queries to the underlines of what life has to offer and what is the motivation through the poems that these beautiful lyrics and speeches and verses and works of these saintly figures, Andal and Lal Ded, offer the insights into human mysticism. The topic for today, how liberation, devotion, and bridal mysticism takes us an year, an age, and a century ahead. I will now like to call upon stage our speaker for the day, Professor Uma Devi ji, who is an avid speaker and also a theorist, has been mentoring various research scholars in the departments of foreign languages in the University of Delhi. She is here to give us a lot of deeper insight into the works of Andal. Please welcome.
அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம், நமஸ்தே. First, I have to say thanks to our chairman, this type of, to link Tamil Nadu and Kashmir. So first sir को मैं धन्यवाद बोल रही हूँ. And then the Bikram sir को भी मेरा धन्यवाद. This opportunity he gave to us to be present here. And another हमारी panelist sir and Rinku ma'am ko bhi I want to say thanks because her way of approach and the presentation what we are going to speak, all the details she gave. But this Kashmir and Tamil Nadu, the question first, how can we interlink Kashmir and Tamil Nadu? I never visited Kashmir. I have the image that Kashmir is very cold place. We cannot survive here. We are very lived in a very hot place, people. So the first this warm and very ecology वातावरण के लिए मैं first thank करके and Kashmir का this is my image था. But this Kashmir and Tamil Nadu को connection में संगम literature में क्या लिखा हुआ ये सारा चीज ढूंढने के पहले से लाल देद का मैं मुझको पहले से लाल देद का poem I read it a lot. लाल देद का poem it was a English translation because I was working on Andal. It is not Andal नहीं है, Andal. Andal का meaning अलग है, Andal का meaning अलग है. Andal means, Andal is a Vaishnava poet. We have a 3 sect of religious aspects. One is Saivism which is based on Shiva. Another is Vaishnavism which is based off Thirumal, Lord Thirumal, Krishna, Ram, everything. So उसी में I was just working on the idea of women writers, particularly Sant women writers. I was working. So that time I was searching all the. तब तो I got a chance to understand the pan-Indian understanding of Sant poets. So it was very much make me more interesting. First I started from Andal, and Andal is from Vaishnava tradition. Andal is the poet. She was with a worshipper of Thirumal or Krishna, and the other Karaikal Ammayar. Karaikal Ammayar, Ammai means mother. Karaikal Ammayar is the, she was the base of Saiva worship. And then I started to search some more pan-Indian women saints, that is Karnataka. From Karnataka, Akama Devi, and from Rajasthan, Mirabai. From then, that time I got to know this Lal Ded. Lal Ded, I was very much surprised because the method and her revolutionary views and thoughts which makes me more interesting. But I want to be, my idea was the bridal mysticism. What is bridal mysticism? क्या है वो? Mysticism में क्या है ये bridal mysticism? तो generally bhakti मतलब भी you have to be surrender yourself to the God. This is the devotees' ideas. But how women saints are, in that time all the particularly Bhakti period is the period we will say that it is a revolutionary period. But if women enter to the public space, They have to create their own style of writing or worshipping or the devotion to the goddess. They were make it in a different way. That is, they created all the women saints. If you are search the women saints, all are people who are speaking about bridal mysticism. They are considered themselves. Particularly, we have the idea that all the whole world is all are women, and the Purush means the God only. So usually this technique is called, in Indian tradition, it is Nayagan, Nayagi, Bava. Nayagan, Nayagi, Bava, they are considered themselves as Nayagi. Bhagavan ko Nayagi karenge, Nayak karenge. So this type of understanding, they are interrelate to God, because God means everybody, we are thinking that God is a very powerful man, we have to keep him in the top, so we could not connect. But all the women saints are very emotional. They want to connect the God as very simple, as their husband or lover. That is called bridal mysticism. They are considered themselves as a heroine, God as a hero. We can take it in the very common aspects mein bolenge, they have to be. But this type of understanding, how to reach God very easily through love, particularly other emotions, better than other emotion, love is more intense and easily reached to anyone. So they are considered God as a, because that time I think my understanding is they are coming from a domestic space to public space. They know the life, love, husband and all. So in the poem also they represented that perspective, and that we can surrender as a wife or as a lover, we can surrender to the God very deeply or very easily, to surrender yourself 100%. So that idea of bridal mysticism, it is available in Islamic tradition also. Sufism, MB Rabia madam did it, that idea. So we can go for what is Nayanagi Bhavam, what is bridal mysticism, how can the idea of bridal mysticism develop. It has its 9 stages. One is, first they have started to faith on God. First पहले उनको God के ऊपर faith होना चाहिए, faith शुरू होता है. Second is started to associate with the devotees. हमको भगवान के ऊपर faith हो गया, then we have to meet the people who are like us, who are worshipping God. So association with the संघ, साधु संघ बोलेंगे, उसका association with the devotees. The third is they are started to make some rites, rituals they are wanting to do. They are to service to the God. The fourth is, once they are automatically involved in the worship or bhakti aspects, they will totally remove the attachment attached to the world was, they will slowly, they will decreasing the unwanted attachment of the world. Then they are very strongly affinity, they create a affinity to the God. Next level, they were started to enjoy the ruchi, they are started to enjoy that devotion to the God. And then finally they come to attachment, and they will create a love emotion. Love emotion is next to the level prema. That is the, particularly this prema related to God, Shiva and Krishna ke upar, the generally people did it. So on that basis we can see the Christian culture mein Avila Teresa was also written such a poem. In Islamic Sufi tradition maybe there is a one I told Rabia. But for Andal has a different type of understanding. Andal is the one poet that is, her period is, people are keeping her to 7 to 10 period. 7 to 10th century mein they are fixing, because according to her narrative says they are fixing her. She is telling that she is very much, we are Andal, we have a culture that we don't have much culture about Krishna. We have a much culture on Thirumal, that is Tirupati Venkatachalapati, like Thirumal, Vishnu, like that. But she is creating Krishna ke. I can say the Andal's small life history, how Andal was, his father also Periyalvar, that is a Vainava tradition. It is called Alvar. Alvar groups, 12 Alvar. Among that, Periyalvar is her father. Periyalvar got her, she is not given birth. Periyalvar got her from a tulsi plant ke under se she got it. So he taken her and he brought up her very devotional way. But that time she was when his younger age mein, he told that she needs some company, so he shown that Krishna, he is your friend, you can play with that. So like that they are she was started to worship Lord Shiva, sorry, Krishna. That is, she is asking the Lord Shiva, particularly Andal poem mein, Andal written two books, which is Tirupavai, another is Nachiya Tirumoli. Nachiya Tirumoli have 143 poems, and Andal Tirupavai is 30 poems. In that, she wants to, only one example, Andal, how much associated to her, she was asking the love to the Krishna, because the Krishna always keeping the shank on her mouth, so she is calling the shank, you know, shell. She is asking Krishna that she called the shank called lip leech. She is calling it, it's a lip leech. She is asking the question to the shank that, Krishna say, tum all the time you are in the lips of the Krishna. What is the taste of the saliva of Krishna? Is it like lotus or lotus smell, or it is a camphor? कर्पूर का खुशबू आ रहा था. आंडाल ने लिप लीच अपने शेल से कॉन्वर्सेशन क्रिएट कर रही है, दैट शी इज आस्किंग यूर द लॉर्ड कृष्णा का माउथ का और सलेवा का टेस्ट कैसे होगा, लोटस होगा और इट इज लुक लाइक अ कैम्फर. So this type of conversation she made to Krishna in her, through her poems, that she is telling that she wants to, many times she was dreaming that she wants to marry with Shiva, and she was got married. People are telling his father take her to the Tiruvarangam Tiruchi temple, there she was assimilated to Lord Thirumal. This is the story ends with that, but she was her protest and most of her Nachiya Tirumoli, which was speaking about the desires of sexual desire. Initially, lots of poem which is the time he is telling that to stop. I did not start yet about Andal. We can speak hours and hours, but 15 minutes it's not enough. Okay, I will complete my things. So the Andal was very much affiliated to Krishna, that she is thinking himself, God as her own husband. So this type of ideology in our pan-Indian culture mein, Lal Ded bhi thoda aise wala, she was also thinking that Shiva, when there is one poem, small poem, which is Lal Ded narrated, that she is telling that there is a moonlight. In the moonlight, you entered with me. She was telling that I was searching, and you came and you entered to me. We became that, and after that, it was a full moon day was end that day. Amavash ka din mein, God entered to her. After that, both they are unite each other and become a moon. Then the lake was looking very clearly like that. Lal Ded, apne ka devotion ko, it is one type of surrender she is making to the God. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful insight that we just had from you in a very, very quick and concise manner. But as Madam very rightly said, that these folk tales and these stories to tell and these lyrics and these verses that have been mesmerizing for not only her, but for the whole generations who have read them. So not taking much of the time further, I'd like to call upon Professor Shaukat Sahab, who shall now be shedding light on the poetic visions of Lal Ded. Thank you. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa amalan mutakabbala wa qalban khasha. Revered dignitaries on the dais and scholars, delegates, professors of the dais, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dod kya zani yasna bane, dod kya zani yasna bane, gamik jam havalit tane, gar gar firis payam kane, duntum nikah panye kane. Dear audience, I will just translate it. One who has never suffered cannot know pain. clad in the clothes of pain. I went from door to door, but was stoned in return. No one I found to agree with me. But today, I have come here with a hope that we will at least lend our ears, and through ears we will open up our souls, hearts, spirits to this perennial message. There is change in all the philosophies, but the philosophy that Lalla is actually propagating, this philosophy is perennial right from the advent of man on earth. It will never change because this is the relation that we are supposed to build up between the creator and the creature. This relation is always same, and Lalla has used the word suffering, gum. I guarantee you that if we will nourish this gum, this sorrow in our hearts and minds, in our life, then all other pains will be evaporated into nothing and we will live a peaceful life. Because the gum, जिस गम के बारे में ये कहती है, हमने materialistic gum पाला है in one way or the other way. We are all concerned with this temporal life. She is actually talking about this temporal life. This is the platform where from we can actually catch up and have a very honorable life after this life. That is a eternal life. And we all crave for this because mysticism, ma'am was talking about bridal mysticism. But in the very beginning, I would like to tell you that Lal Ded is not explicitly under the canopy of this bridal mysticism, but as a true mystic, she is actually trying to develop that relation that we are supposed to have. And for that, she thinks she uses the terminology in the life she has seen around her. That was because the whole society of ours at that time was Shavite by faith, and this was the dominant idiom. And she says in one of her works, because if you want to see brevity, she has only used 4-liners. And through those 4-liners, she is actually trying to penetrate into our own being, where we will explore our own self. Through that self, we will develop a relation with God. This is the main message of mysticism. And Lalla being the pioneer, not only in mystic thought in Kashmiri language, but she is the pioneer of our Kashmiri literature. She is the first writer we have. And I was very happy that ma'am talked about an 8th century mystic Andal from Tamil. Like ma'am, I have not also visited Tamil Nadu, but through literature, through translations, because translations make migrations of writers. And we are also supposed to migrate from this day. Nobody among us is having a guarantee that we will live forever. Everybody has to migrate, but before migrating, Lalla tries to tell us that there is a supreme consciousness, that is God. The divine imprint is in ourselves, and we need to explore that so that we can find peace in our life. And for that, she has used in one of the works, she says, Shivshi Zavil Zal Vahravit, Shivshi Zavil Zal Vahravit, Kranzan Manshi Tarit Kat, Zindanai Wushak, Adkar Marit, Zindanai Wushak, Adkati Marit, Panamiz Pan Kad, Vetsarit Kat. This is the message. This is the message. That everybody, this is the time of AI. This is the time of information explosion. We are subject to the disinformation and misinformation, and the right information that these poets like Lalla give us, where we can see that divine imprint is everywhere. We all crave for peace, but we are actually committing a folly. We think that peace will come by hoarding materialistic comforts. That will never come, because this is not important whether you are rich or poor. This is important whether you are good or bad. This is important whether you are connected to God. This is important whether you yourself visualize, whether you yourself try to explore that I am nothing before God. God is the reference point. Some people call him Shiv, some call him Allah, some call him by different names. Actually, it is the same creator who is actually the creator of everything, every external thing, the world in which we are living. We are actually very much mesmerized by external influences, and because of those external influences we always remain bereft of opening up that veil to look into our own selves. That is the greater universe. You look for peace outside. Lalla says, Goran vunnam kuni vachun, never dubnam andarachun. Goran vunnam kuni vachun, never dubnam andarachun. Suime laligo waqt vachun, tawai hatum nangai nachun. This is not Lalla is saying that I became naked. No, naked to all the veils, the masks I have put on myself, because when I came to know that who actually I am, yele mis pata loj bokas chas asli, yele panun asal as pata shu lagan, telai shu hekan asla sit wasal te gesit. So wasal ges telai, amyuk matlab go na, is banu na doctor, is banu na professor, is banu na engineer, is banu preth ke, magar godnuch kach is banu insan. Insan chu sui yus pannis Khalikas pehchan. So Khalik chu ya Shiv, so chu Krishna, so chu yim chu mukhtalif zabanyan maz mukhtalif naaw amid ta yim ashwanan Allah Taala ta ye chu hai samjhun. I am actually switching over to Kashmiri because there is a heterogeneous audience and mostly from Kashmir. That is why. Otherwise, this is the message. This is the message of Andal. This is the message of every mystic, whether it is Rumi, whether it is Sheikhul Alam, whether it is Mirabai, whether it is anyone from any corner of the world. And for this, we are assembled here so that at least some of us, if not everyone, we will become ambassadors, at least practicing it in our own life. Because Lalla says, Lalla is very much, she was the first learned author. She was educated. She was well versed in Trika philosophy, the philosophy that was in vogue at that time. But ultimately, she is trying to come up to that level where she is actually evaporating all the dualities. She believes in monistic philosophy where she actually accepts the greatness of God. He is one. And if we want to attain peace in our life, we need to think ourselves in reference to God. Otherwise, we are nothing. If we are having anything, it is some bonus that is given to us, some blessing given to us by God. Nobody is born professor. We all come naked. We all live naked. In between whatever we get, we need to realize who gave it us. Who gave it to us, we never realize. For that, we are assembled here. I will just take leave of you because there is a question answer session. This is the main thing which I want to say. There are many walks, more than 200 walks of Lal Ded. It will take more and more time. I can speak at length, but the main crux is that we need to realize. We never realize. We bring that. We need to make ourselves awakened selves. We are awakened to anything, but that is all material. Even here, when we come, I think the literature that is related to this mystic message, we hardly go. We want to have literature that is related to our corporate world, that is related, that will adapt to our material hoarding. Actually, we need to hoard spiritually. Then and only then we will be better human beings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for bringing us to light again with the works of the famous poetess of the valley, Lal Ded. She has been Laleshwari for some and she's been Lala Arifa for the others. But yet she happens to be one big spiritual entity whom we ought to know in our today's world. Both, whether it is Andal or it is Laleshwari, happen to be propagating the ideology of spirituality. They are both Vaishnavites and Shaivites, both followers of the preserver and also the destroyer. They are both unique, separate, and yet one. And what is their message? Secularization, spirituality, brotherhood, humanism. And at the end of our session, I would just like to ask the audience if there are any questions for our panelists. Anybody would like to ask any questions? Anyone? Could be anything pertaining to whether the ideologies put forth regarding spirituality or salvation. How do they matter? Yes, yes, please. Please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I am Mudassir from Andal district. I want to thank the respected guests who are trying to throw light on the union between the philosophies of the North and the South, which is the basic essence, I think, of this program. I want to especially thank Mr. Shaukat Ali, who was actually enlightening us about the philosophy of Lal Ded. My question is for him. Sir, you actually emphasized on the monism of Lal Ded, which I think is one of the essences of Lal Ded's philosophy. Do you think it lends itself, its origin to the Upanishads, because that's where the essence of this monism comes from, especially? If we look at one of the Upanishads, because I think there's a verse, I'm not able to recall right now what the actual Upanishad is. There's a verse there which is Ekam Sadvipra Bahuda Vadanti, where there's a essence of monism written there. Sir, my question is, how much do you think does Lal Ded's philosophy lend its influence to that? And do you think there was actually a migration from Upanishads to the North, to the South, that gave this Bhakti tradition, as we are speaking right now, which is actually the thrust of this topic? So, first question is, in order to make it simple, sir, I'm being too elaborate, sorry for that. First question is, do you think Lal Ded's monism doctrine lends itself to the Upanishadic thought? And second, do you think it was the Upanishadic transmission of ideas that made the Bhakti tradition flourish in the North and the South? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, would you like to answer from here? Please.
Thank you very much for your query. Actually, in the very beginning, I told you that this realization that there can be single God, this monism, it is already imprinted on our soul, everybody's soul. And Lalla was not insulated against the influences, the kind of philosophy she is talking about, because she was rooted in Shaivite philosophy, but the Islamic influence was also there at the same time. And I have actually explored in many of her works where she is actually, I think, by understanding that work, that she is actually talking about the concept of monistic God as if she is propagating Islamic thought. Because I will just quote one of her works. And in this work, she is actually talking about for example, why in this work she is talking about Shivchi Thali Thali Rozan. Shivchi Thali Thali Rauzan. It is Rozan or Rauzan. Rau is also the ray of sun. And she is saying Shivchi Thali Thali Rozan Mauzan Hintu Musalman Turukhay Chuk to Pan Prezan Soiche Sahiba Switi Zani Zan. And here she is actually talking about Sahib. She is actually talking about God. and this is single God. In another walk, she says, Goras Prishom Sasilate, Yasna Kehvanan Taskya now. In that walk, she is also talking about this monistic philosophy that he is, even in Islam, we say, Laisa kamislihi. He is not like anyone. You can't put him into thought. If you put God into thought, then he is not God. Like that, she is saying that Shivchi Rozan, Shivchi Zoil Zal Virit. Yani Shiva is God. God is single, but he actually permeates like a thread in rosary. We are all the rosary, the beads of rosary. Everyone, right from Adam till doomsday. And God is actually in us, in our soul, which we call divine imprint, something that goes off when we die. What actually dies? Now medical science is also proving that there can be a cadaveric transplant. After death for 20 hours, our organs are alive. We can transplant them from one body to, and they can settle, work. But what actually dies? It is that divine imprint that goes back. And that divine imprint comes from single God. If there would have been two gods, then the world would not have been like this. So this monistic philosophy, it has, because she was well read. I told you in the very beginning, she is among the whole Sufi mystic writers from our valley. She was the most learned. She was well versed. She belonged to a Pandit family where giving education to women was also very necessary. So we are now talking about that. Actually, she was propagating this monistic philosophy through and through her work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, because of the paucity of time, we also have another session lined up. May I please call upon Chief Editor and Joint Director, NBT, Shri Kumar Vikram Sahab, to please come and give us a vote of thanks.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. This was an interesting session. As our chairman had highlighted, it's an experiment that we have done. And but I would also like to underline that as far as the books are concerned, we have been doing this experiment, translating from Tamil to Kashmiri to Urdu and vice versa, but having an actual this kind of conversation and discourse between Tamil and Kashmiri scholars on this such an important theme is it is an enlightening experience for all of us, and we all come down to the common wisdom, the universal wisdom that all religions and all cultures have, the basic tenets of love, compassion, and coexistence. I would like to thank the speakers, Professor D. Uma Devi, Professor Mufti Mudassir Farooqi, and the moderator, Dr. Rinku Pawar, and also our chairman for sparing time. There is going to be another session on this Tamil Kashmiri Samvad at 4 p.m. And the next section, I would also like to tell you that there is going to be interesting discussion between a distinguished author, Brigadier Sushil Tawar, with a distinguished journalist, Mr. Zafar Chaudhary. Please be seated for that. And in the spirit of this program, I would again request my colleagues to say you a formal thank you in Kashmiri and Tamil. Thank you.
Buchas Sanian experten to Professorin Hans Varya Shukurguzar kitimo ko time panun titimo navaz es pannu zahin khayalato sid. Shukriya. Shukriya Professor Rinku Pawar, Shukriya Dr. Uma Devi, Shukriya Professor Milind Sudhakar sir, Shukriya Dr. Master Shaukat Ali, Shukriya Mr. Kumar Vikram, ये stage pannu khayalato se itna wazn khatir. Shukriya.
இடைக்கால இந்தியாவின் சிறந்த பெண் கவிஞர்களான ஆண்டாள் மற்றும் லால் தெத்தின் குறித்த சிறந்த பங்களிப்புகளை இவ்வமர்வில் வழங்கிய ரிங்கு பவார் மேம் அவர்களுக்கும் உமாதேவி மேம் அவர்களுக்கும் நமது நிறுவனத்தின் தலைமையான ப்ரொஃபசர் சுதாகர் மராத்தே ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும் டாக்டர் மாஸ்டர் சோகத்தலி ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும் குமார் விக்ரம் சார் ஐயா அவர்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றியினை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். இதற்கு உதவிய சக என்பிடி ஊழியர்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றியினை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன்.